Facebook has been accused of a conservative bias? Really? Hi, thanks for watching. So today is Friday. It's Fact Check Friday, where I talk about fact checkers and what's going on in the world of checking facts. There was a really interesting article that came out this week in Yahoo, and the title of the article is Facebook Accused of Conservative Bias Over Kavanaugh Article Fact Check. As I've discussed in the past, Facebook has about 5 or 6 different organizations that do fact checking for them. And if something is shared on Facebook and one of these fact checking organizations determines that it's false or fake news, the article will then not be shared as much. It'll be put way down in the feed, and so it'll be harder for this fake news to be spread around Facebook. And just this week, a Think Progress article was deemed to be false, and so therefore it was not being shared on Facebook. And Think Progress is really upset about this. What they are upset about is they put out an article that is BS, okay? And the article is titled, Brett Kavanaugh Said He Would Kill Roe versus Wade Last Week and Almost No One Noticed. So that was the article, and the article was BS. It was not backed up by facts. And one of Facebook's fact-checking organizations, the Weekly Standard, deemed it to be false, and they flagged it as being false. And Think Progress is really upset about this. And they're mainly upset because the Weekly Standard is a conservative organization, and they think that a conservative organization should not be able to fact-check them, which is insane. The question should be, is this article true or not? And the article was not true. The headline was not supported by the article. This was a fake story. But Think Progress is now saying that Facebook is biased in favor of conservatives because they allow a conservative website to fact-check them on their BS. Now, what's really funny is in this article, it's an interview with Judd Legum from Think Progress, and he states that all of the other ones are non-ideological publications, places like factcheck.org, the AP, but they have a very particular way added the Weekly Standard, and that's who fact-checked this article. So his problem is that the Weekly Standard is a conservative website, and they shouldn't be allowed to do it because all the other fact-checkers are totally unbiased. No, they're not. I've made videos on the AP. I've made videos on factcheck.org, these so-called unbiased sources. And there is some bias in some of the writers for those organizations. That's not saying that everyone at the AP or everyone at factcheck.org is biased, but they certainly do have bias in some of their writers. What's also funny is he does not defend this article as being legitimate, right? This article is BS. But somehow the big problem that he has is that a conservative fact-checking site called him on it. And that gets into just the idea of, is there political bias in fact-checking? Obviously, there is. But I think that any organization, whether you be far left, center, right, far right, should be able to check facts. That's what they're doing. Just check the facts. I think where the bias really comes in is the selection of what you are going to fact check. I kind of think most politicians lie, and they lie a lot. But if you are a fact checker, let's say on the far left, and every article that you do is about someone on the right lying, those can all be legitimate fact checks. But only choosing to fact check that is biased. I'll give you an example. The New York Times this week put out an article fact-checking some of the testimony of Judge Kavanaugh. And this was actually done by 4 of their authors, right? They got them all together to fact-check some of the testimony of Judge Kavanaugh. At times, Kavanaugh's defense misleads or veers off point. And I think the New York Times did a really good job in this article. They didn't just straight up say he's lying, or anything like that. They didn't have Pinocchios or pants on fire or anything silly. They went through the claims and they talked about it being disputed. For example, they talked about Judge Kavanaugh's recollection of him drinking to excess. They stated what Kavanaugh said under oath, and then they talked about why it was disputed. They didn't make any claims whether it was true or false, but they gave you the information so that you could read about it and understand why it's a disputed claim. Another example they had was about the yearbook lingo. The judge made some claims about what some of the things in the yearbook meant, and they say that it's disputed that these terms may mean something else to some other people. They didn't say that it was a lie. They didn't say that it was misleading. They just said that it's disputed, and they gave the information as to why it was disputed. That's all. I thought overall this was an excellent fact-checking article, and I have no problem with what the New York Times did in this case. But the issue, as far as bias with the New York Times, is they only chose to fact-check Judge Kavanaugh's testimony. They did not choose to fact-check anybody else's testimony. And in that selection bias of what they chose to write about, that really shows the political bias. But what do you think? Do you think that Facebook has a conservative bias? Or do you think that there is political bias in what fact-checkers choose to write about? Let me know in the comments. Peace. Help me reach my goal of 1 million of 2,000 subscribers by clicking the like button and subscribing. Thanks.